Have you ever heard that term no self and it just felt a little weird? This idea that maybe you don't even exist? It's pretty unsettling, right? Well, today we're going to dive deep into the ancient Pali word anattā. And I think you'll be surprised because its real meaning isn't about disappearing, it's actually about freedom. So here's what we're going to do. First, we'll bust that big no-self myth, then we'll do a little linguistic detective work. After that, we'll look at a whole new way to think about this. Management, not ownership. I've got 4 really cool analogies from today's world to make it all click. And then we'll wrap up with the real prize, the freedom that comes with letting go. All right, let's jump right in with the big one, the no-self misconception. This is the starting point for so many of us, and honestly, it can be a pretty spooky idea. So, does anatta really mean you don't exist? I mean, this is the core question, isn't it? It hits a nerve, that's for sure. But what if that common translation is just plain wrong? What if it's actually pointing us towards something incredibly practical and, I've got to say, empowering? Okay, to get to the truth, we've got to put on our detective hats. Because the real answer, the secret, is hiding in plain sight, right inside the ancient Pali word itself. And we are about to crack the code. All right, so let's get into it. The word is anatta. Now, this is a compound word, meaning it's made of 2 parts. And once you see these 2 parts, everything starts to make a whole lot more sense. So that first part is un. Super simple. It's just a prefix that means not or the opposite of. It's basically the same as when we stick un or non onto a word in English. So un means not. Easy peasy. Now, this next part, this is the whole ballgame. It's anattā. And this is exactly where that translation self kind of misses the point. See, back then, anattā meant something much more specific. It meant a permanent owner, a fixed controller, like the ultimate authority with the eternal right to own and control something. It's a much bigger, heavier concept than just self. So check this out. When you put them together, an plus anattā, you get anattā. It doesn't mean no self or you don't exist. It means no permanent owner. How cool is that? It's this radical idea that for all the things we call me, this body, these thoughts, these feelings, there's no little CEO in our heads that has permanent absolute ownership over any of it. And once you get that, wow, it completely flips the script on how we see ourselves. It moves us away from this really stressful idea of ownership and into a much more practical, realistic framework. Management. Yeah, this idea right here is the key. You have management rights, but no ownership rights. Just let that sink in for a second. It means you're the manager of this whole operation called you. You get to drive the car, you get to work with your mind, you navigate all your feelings, you've got full management authority, but you don't actually hold the pink slip. The title deed isn't in your name. And this connects to something really fundamental. You know that feeling when things just don't go your way? That's called anicca. The reality that everything changes and you can't really control it all. Well, fighting that reality is what causes all the stress and friction, dukkha. And anatta is the missing piece of the puzzle. It tells us why things are so uncontrollable. It's because we never owned them in the first place. I mean, think about it. You can't really control something you don't own, right? Okay, I get it. This might still sound a little out there. So let's bring it right down to earth. I've got 4 modern analogies that are going to make this whole idea click for real. All right, first up, the rental car. Picture it. You get the keys, you're behind the wheel, you're in control, you are totally managing that car. But you're not the owner. You don't hold the title. And as much as you might love that sweet ride, you know at the end of the trip, you got to give it back. Our body, our mind, it's kind of like the most incredible rental car we'll ever get to drive. Okay, analogy number 2. Think of an orchestra playing a beautiful symphony. That music is 100% real, right? You hear it, it moves you. But if you try to find the one single thing called the music, you couldn't. It's not a solid object, it's a temporary event that happens when all these different parts, the musicians, the violins, the notes, all come together perfectly. Well, you are kind of like that symphony, a beautiful, complex process, not some fixed thing hiding inside it all. Or how about this one? The weather. Clouds gather, it starts to rain. These are real things happening. But there isn't some little cloud soul in there deciding, I think I'll rain now. It just happens because the conditions, the temperature, the humidity are just right. Our emotions? They're exactly the same. They're just mental weather. Anger, happiness, sadness, they're like storms or sunny spells that roll in because of certain conditions, and then they roll out. They aren't who you permanently are. And for our last analogy, let's get really modern, a corporation. Think about a huge company like Apple or Samsung. It's a real thing, right? It has a legal identity, it has offices, it has thousands of employees. But is there a single immortal soul of the company? No way. It's just a super complex system of interconnected departments and people working together. Well, we're kind of like organic corporations. We're these incredibly intricate, functioning systems, but there's no permanent CEOs sitting in a big chair in our brain pulling all the levers. So when you put all of this together, the language, the new framework, the analogies, it all leads to the big payoff. This is the most important part. The incredible freedom you feel when you finally let go of that illusion that you own everything. Look, it really boils down to this. On one hand, you've got the illusion of anattā. That's the mindset of this is my body, this is my mind, it has to do what I say. And that constant battle, that's where so much of our stress comes from. But on the other hand, you have the truth of anattā. That's where you shift to being a manager, a caretaker. You think, this is a process I'm guiding, not a thing I own. And the result of that tiny shift in perspective, it's huge. It's peace. So real freedom, real liberation, it's like that deep sigh of relief you take when you finally get it. When you realize, oh, of course my body gets sick sometimes. Of course my mind wanders. Of course things don't always go my way. Why? Because they were never mine to control in the first place. And realizing that isn't sad. It's not a loss. It's the ultimate freedom. So I want to leave you with this one final question to just chew on. Take it with you today. Think about it in your life, at your job, with the people you care about. What happens? What would actually change for you right now if you just stopped trying to own the unknowable?